Hey everybody, Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick unboxing of Microsoft's latest piece of hardware. This is the Microsoft Surface Pro. This is the first tablet to run Windows 8 Professional, and unlike any other tablet that we've seen before, because essentially it has the innards of a modern Ultrabook compressed into the body or profile of a tablet, and a very well-made tablet at that. So before I show you guys the actual product, let's go over specifications and price points. You can pick up this Windows Surface Pro tablet in either 64 or 128 gig capacities. In terms of price point, you're looking at $899 for the 64 gig and $999 for the 128. Now, I do recommend going with the 128 if you're interested in this computer replacement, because in terms of usable storage space, with the 64 gig, which is what we have here today, you'll only have 29 gigs of usable storage space with Windows 8 Pro installed on this machine out of the box. With the 128 gig version, you will have 89 gigs of usable space. Now, for some of you, that may not matter because you may be looking to expand the storage with the micro SD card slot, or of course want to just use the USB port. There is one USB 3.0 port on here. And this is a full-fledged computer, even though what you're about to see is a tablet. But moving right along, you've got a third-gen Intel Core i5 processor powering the entire experience. A good thing also that it's complemented by the Intel HD Graphics 4000 chipset, because that means you'll be able to play quite a few games. It's Intel's best chipset for gaming to date. Of course, nothing cutting edge there in terms of gaming, but it will allow you to do things that, quite frankly, you could never do on a tablet or any other tablet right now. So that makes this quite significant and impressive when it comes to gaming compared to just about any other tablet in the marketplace. But we have to remember this is a computer. You've got a 10.6-inch ClearType HD display, much like on the Surface RT, but the critical difference here is we've got a 1080p display. So for those of you who've been waiting for it, it's finally arrived. In terms of audio, there are stereo speakers. You do have a front-facing camera for video conferencing, of course a microphone on board. There is, as I mentioned before, a full-size USB 3.0 port, a micro SDXC card reader, so you do have a form of storage expansion there. I would have liked to have seen a full-size SD card slot, but no big deal really. This is the first-gen product after all. You also have a headphone jack, of course, a mini display port out, which is pretty much becoming standard if you don't already consider it to be one. And beyond that, the entire build is made out of, I believe, a magnesium, so very solid quality on the build and the form factor. There are two cameras, by the way, 720p HD on both ends, front and rear, Wi-Fi A, B, G, and N, Bluetooth 4.0, and of course it has the various arrays of light sensors, accelerometer, all of those things, a compass that you'd expect. Microsoft does offer a 1-year warranty. The keyboards are also really expensive. I'll be taking a look at those later. But anyway, 3 minutes. I've given you guys the rundown. For those of you that didn't know, sorry that you, or rather those who know exactly what's in the build, sorry you had to wait and go through that, but it's obligatory. This is kind of a big deal, to say the least, considering Microsoft has never made anything like this. Because if you guys were wondering, those of you who subscribe and follow my reviews, why the Surface RT never made it onto the digest, it's simply because I really didn't see a purpose for that product in today's world, especially in mobile computing. This, on the other hand, represents an entirely different beast. So with that said, let's get to opening it up, and hopefully it's not too bad. And it looks like Microsoft, they've put pull tabs here, so they're trying to make life easy, which I like already, as I take off the first layer. Because if that's how all of it is, it's not going to be too difficult to open, which would be a first, especially in the world of electronics. So let's see if I can make this look simple, because it looks simple. And I am excited by this product because, as I mentioned to you guys, I did like the look, the build, the feel, and the way Surface RT operated. However, I really couldn't get behind something that was basically an attempt to compete with Android and iOS starting now. And I think that's a big problem for a lot of you out there, is that you don't want to really be part of beta testing. And it's ironic because Microsoft used to advertise about how they wouldn't put the customer through beta testing. Now, you could argue a product like this is even a form of beta testing, but considering it's actually an Ultrabook in almost the identical form factor as the Surface RT, it's really impressive. So I can tell you guys that same great build quality right now. It feels fantastic. You've got that kickstand, which is something I've always liked when manufacturers incorporate it on any sort of tablet, because you've got to realize that this is going places with or without a case, and often needs to be able to stand up on its own. But let's go ahead and go over the different ports, because I know you guys want to see that stuff. Looks like that's the display port right there. A little bit of, I believe that's like a Pogo charging port right there. A speaker. Up along the top, I believe that is another speaker, or that's a microphone array. On the back end, we have, as it comes into focus, one of the 720p cameras, as I mentioned, a little bit of Windows branding. And thankfully, not too much of that. Microsoft has been pretty good about keeping a very clean and industrial design, which I like a lot. There's our 3.5mm headphone jack up at the top left there, followed by a volume rocker, and then the USB 3.0 port. Down at the bottom of the unit, we have another proprietary charging bay, as well as the ability, or I shouldn't say charging, but that's the connector for the keyboard for smart docking this. And that pretty much rounds out everything that's on the body. And I can just reinforce with you guys, really solidly made, very, very well built. I'm impressed. Weight, not too bad, considering the quality of build with this. I'm impressed by the fact that it really does seem like it would be comfortable to hold over a long period of time. And that's not to say that Surface RT didn't represent that, but again, in terms of usability, this really shouldn't be compared to Surface RT. And that's why, if you were interested in Surface RT, this should be your new interest, because this is all of that and more. Now, in terms of battery life, because you're working with a real computer here, you know, a Core i5 processor, and you've got 4 gigs of RAM, all that jazz, your battery life simply isn't going to be in the realm of what we have come to expect from tablets. You're looking at a 4 to 5 hour battery here, depending on how heavy your usage is, which isn't bad considering this is, again, the first attempt by Microsoft. By the way, the power button, kind of important that I missed that. So battery life, not the best. Something like the, get this back into focus, the Sony Duo 11 Ultrabook, which to me is the other best device, really not comparable to this because it does have its own keyboard, a larger screen, and far more ports that we've come to expect, like Ethernet, VGA, HDMI. You're not going to find any of that here. It also has an SD card slot, but this is really a tablet. The Duo is not. So that's a defining difference between this and an item like that is clearly a hybrid attempt. There are other hybrids, the Yoga, I could go through all of them. Asus has their own, Acer, Samsung. But Microsoft, after all, everyone kind of has been looking to them, because when they make a piece of hardware, they usually do it right. So this should be all of that and more. I'm hoping for it. Battery life can't match the Duo 11 with the sheet battery, which will get you up to 8 or 9 hours. But overall, you are getting a real tablet here. So looking forward to seeing how the display also matches up, because if this has a better display than the Duo 11, that will do something to sway me. Now, with that out of the way, let me put the Surface down for a moment here, because I want to talk about the rest of what's in this box, because it doesn't really end there. Part of what's great about this 10.6-inch display, even though it's a little smaller than I would personally like, it's still a very good size, but part of this 16 by 9 full 1080p display is that it's also got a Wacom digitizer. So you do have an included pen, and really this is the only attempt that I've seen so far, and I'll see in practice when I go through reviewing this, that is going to challenge something like Samsung's Galaxy Note offerings, because it has 1,024 levels of sensitivity, pressure sensitivity. So if you're an artist or just enjoy drawing, being creative, taking notes, this is going to be the tablet for you, especially if Windows is something you have to use or want to use on a regular basis. So a great accessory in my opinion, and this is the closest we've seen to anything that actually looks like a real pen or pencil. So that's also nice, definitely going to be more natural. So I expect a really good experience out of the Wacom digitizer. That's another really big plus that this tablet has going for it. And so far I think too many reviews have been overcritical of this, expecting I don't know, it to be a perfect device, which no device is. And in my mind, so far, at least what I've seen, this does a lot more than what I really would have expected it to do, quite frankly, because when you compare the pricing of this tablet at a base of $900 to the Surface RT, this looks like a winner, in my opinion. Even though it is still very expensive, I would have liked to have seen Microsoft include a keyboard, but that's really not a big deal for many of you, since a lot of you out there are going to use your own keyboards and not even bother with the smart keyboards that attach. But here's the power brick. Not huge, you know, not incredibly small either. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more cable on this, although it's not short. I'm not sure exactly how many feet it is, but it looks like it'll hopefully have a little bit of reach. But, you know, interesting design. Everything here feels well made, and that's what's really important about the way Microsoft packages, delivers, and hopefully the software follows through. The good thing about this tablet is you don't have to worry so much about you know, Windows RT being successful, clearly, since you have a full-fledged computer. And here you just have an introduction to Surface, hardware setup, showing you how to use the keyboard, how to turn on the machine, all that good stuff. But I really do look forward to giving you guys more impressions of this device, because I really do think this is the future. This is where it's at. Even if this isn't the home run that I think it potentially can be, I think that Microsoft is going in the right direction. This was a big gamble for them. I give them a lot of credit. And if, you know, it's any indication, the build quality is any indication of what the experience will be like, then this is definitely going to be one of my favorite devices. But we'll see. It's going to be tough to knock the Duo 11 out, even though this doesn't have a keyboard and doesn't have the extra RAM, extra hard drive, all of that stuff, as well as even more features I'm not getting into now. But if you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. And of course, as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.